Have fun. D4. Have fun. E4. 3 whites, okay. Have fun. C4. Have fun. Waiting on the move. And have fun. Waiting on the move. So 3 white games and 2 black games. Okay, the early going will be most likely fast and a bit difficult to keep up with. So, Alyakin's defense. Okay. Let's try that. And Caro-Kann defense system against the English. ECO code A11 is what's being thrown out there. D4, let's stay flexible. I was for a second there thinking about the Dutch, but let's not go with the Dutch. And who knew this was coming? C6. I played that too much. Let's try the Sicilian. Nothing here yet. Something here. So I don't know if I want to go with a 4 pawns attack. 4 pawns attack would include C4, D4, and F4. Not really a fan of that. I guess I'd leave my options open by just playing D4 for right now. F3. Let's try this. Could have a Bogo Indian or a Nimzo Indian, depending, of course. What will white do? Could be heading for an open Sicilian Sveshnikov, Queen's Gambit. And I think I just want to not go forward with some crazy 4 pawns attack. So, instead of that, let me go with more development. More development, such as knight F3. Yeah, let's go with knight F3. And knight C3 or E3. Let's go with knight C3. And now we have officially the Nimzo Indian defense. Open Sicilian, heading for a Sveshnikov, and they moved again. Let me move again real quick. More development in this one. Queen's Gambit declined officially. Okay, now that early capture, I take with my knight or my pawn. If I take with my pawn, I run into potential pins. I take with my knight, I avoid that. Let me go with this. Capture with my knight. I think challenging it right away is best. Not sure. Okay, kingside fianchetto is being looked for. Maybe now I capture. Okay, now what I'm thinking about right now is if this bishop is going to be on g7, it's not going to be around to watch over c5. If I take here, open up the c file, as soon as I get my rook on this c file, maybe I could somehow get a knight here and it could be an inconvenience to black. I think I want to make the pawn structure symmetrical and try and symmetrical with regard to the queen side, and try and show that the bishop being deployed on g7 is going to be out of play. So let me take here, and I'm going to follow up with bishop to f4. So I could take this knight and fracture this structure. What are my other options here? c5? I don't know. I think I might want to voluntarily give up my bishop for knight and then work against this doubled c-pawn structure. I'm going to try that. I'll go with that one. And we have seen this before. Sveshnikov, Sicilian. And now, should I take? Because black might be, if I develop my bishop, black might now be in a spot to take this pawn and actually hold on to it. Bishop g5 takes. I play my pawn up on the e file, and then b5. I have to play some gambit. You know how I feel about that. Let's resolve that tension. Okay, fianchettoed bishop, huh? Alright, where does my light square bishop belong? Bishop c4 seems aggressive. Bishop c4 with maybe queen f3 as a follow-up. Queen f3 would be hitting at this pawn. The knight could retreat to defend. Queen f3. Something seems off with this. I can't put my finger on it. queen f3. Queen to f3 hits at this pawn, and well, the bishop I guess could come out, but I think bishop c4 is correct. Certainly says to the knight, you should not move. Okay, bishop f4. Let me get some moves in here. And now, without my dark square bishop around, where would I like to have my pawns? Dark squares. Okay, d6. Right, d6. Okay, I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I don't want to get caught into the routine of just making moves there. d6 is to stop knight d6 in that game. So okay, dark square bishop, g4 and f4, g5 and f4 are my candidate moves. g5 is probably the more annoying of the two, so let's do that. Place the knight in a pin. The knight is being defended, but now after queen f3, I think it becomes very, very awkward to defend against f7. Or does it? Queen f3, bishop e6. Huh. Is this some line? Queen f3, bishop e6, knight c3 to e4 maybe? I think I like queen f3. I'm going to try that. Queen f3. If f6 is played, that seems crazy. Just bring my knight back to d3 or something. And then it's very weakened, the diagonal in the 7th rank. Queen f3, bishop e6. Maybe knight c3, maybe castle. I think it's inconvenient to have the bishop here. Let's try it. Queen f3. I'm looking for mate in 1, but I'm sure that's going to be seen. More development. My light square bishop would come out. Castle. I want to get an e5, maybe even c5. Castle first, e5. Queen e7, e5. Pressure against this guy. To watch. Rook b is going to put even more pressure on it. I think my main idea is going to be to get in this advance. My only question is, do I castle first or queen e7? If I do e5 now, okay, there could be the queens off. I don't think I want to get the queens off. So let me go with this right now. Queen e7. Seems a bit early to be moving the queen, but I'm going to try that. So now it's this, a6. Keep the pin. Nothing here yet. Something here. Where does my bishop belong? d3, e2, or do I reserve its options by playing rook c1 first? Or maybe do I devote some time to playing h3 to rule out knight h5, which would pick up the dark square bishop? h3, rook c1, bishop e2, bishop d3, 4 moves to consider. I don't have a lot of time to be considering them. I go with bishop e2, I guess, to prevent a potential pin on g4 and develop. So, okay, there's pressure now against this guy. Okay, well, I can't move the pawn. I can move my knight. Am I in trouble? Am I in trouble already? Could I actually give up this pawn just to get this important minor piece from white? Castle, a bunch of captures, e5. That's probably falling into the too far-fetched category. Okay. Let's stay away from the too far-fetched category. c3, not really something I want to do. I weaken this. I can't move this pawn. Knight c6, I guess, is the other move. Knight c6. Oh, okay, I'm seeing something. Knight c6. Even if the queen comes out, I probably just don't do anything about that. Man. Knight c6, queen a4. This could get ugly. Fast. We're only, what, 7 moves in? I'm feeling uncomfortable. I can't take with my queen. Otherwise, knight d5, and I could resign. How's that? Let's not resign so early. Okay, this queen hitting at b2. What do you do? Rook b1 is just runs into the annoying bishop f5. Queen d2, I guess, is possible. Queen d2, knight here could come with tempo, but I could just take. Pawn takes, jump my knight in here. I think everything would be fine. Here to defend. Knight here, there's going to just be a queen check or something, such as b4. Counterproductive to go to knight a4 right now while I'm uncastled. If I'm castled, then it's perfectly fine. And I'll look to, I guess, make use of this queen being on b6 and not well placed, eventually gaining a tempo with knight a4, but let me first meet this threat on b2 with queen d2. Off the open c file, that's where the rooks are going to be doing some battle. And, okay, I thought maybe queen a4 could have been quite disruptive. So maybe now I castle, or no, not just yet, because castle or e5. If I play e5 and d5 is played, after knight a5, well, I can't do knight a5 because queen check. So maybe I should first castle, and after e5, d5, knight a5 is possible. And then I could try and make a play on the c4 pawn. So let me first castle. And now this next, and then if, again, kicked with d5, I could at least consider a5. And now I do b5, I'm pretty sure. b5 it is. I'm looking for a fork on b4. We're still well in book. And bishop d3. I don't think I have anything from this opening, and I'm usually actually quite all right with not having anything. I'm just looking for playable positions. Bishop e6 is what I expected. Castle or knight c3? This seems very aggressive. Knight c3 cannot be captured. Let's try it. Knight c3, putting a lot of pressure on my opponent there. Let me castle, and now knight a4 stuff. Actually, I could have considered knight a4 in that last move. Now I'll do e5. Nothing here yet. Nothing here. My opponents are all thinking at this point. Okay, we got action. I was going to grab some water there. No time for water. Knight a4. Where does the queen go? She's kind of running out of squares. In fact, I want to do that right now. Knight a4. Although knight here is going to be a bit of a bug. What about I throw my knight in here right now? I think this is good. Let me get my knight in here. And another thing is that now that I have my knight on e5, this earlier point that I was talking about, maybe considering h3 to meet knight h5 with bishop f2, well, now that my bishop is on e2 and my knight is on e5, I don't have to worry about the knight trying to pick up my dark square bishop. Maybe a way to save a move in your own games. That point that I just shared right there. Okay. What is this knight up to? Is he really looking to get to this square? I have it covered. I could play e4 and change the structure. How about h6? Is my opponent really going to play f4? Is that why? Is this a clearance move to get the f pawn involved? h6 prevents any what? It prevents bishop g5 stuff. I'm gonna try that. h6, control another dark square, rule out annoying pins. Whoa. What is going on with that queen? Seems like there might be some sack on this square. Bishop g, bishop b7. There's eventually a tempo against the queen, isn't there? I can't do this just yet, but if I play bishop here, here is threatened next. Oh man, is there something crazy going on here? How do I defend the knight? If I defend it here, it's more aggressive. Right here, it's more defensive because it's addressing a potential sack on b5 and then a pin. Bishop b7, knight takes, or let's say knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, queen c7, or even no, yeah, queen c7. How do you put more fuel on this knight? In 2 moves, I'll be castled. Not seeing how another piece could be put on that square. I think bishop b7. Or wait a second. Maybe queen b6 with the idea of bishop e6 with the development, with the tempo on the queen. I have many options here. I'm not sure which one to really go with. Queen c7, you know what? No, probably not, because the sacrifices and then the knight coming here with tempo on my queen. I think I like just development. I'm still threatening this. Bishop b7. Maybe if there's more pressure placed on my knight, I could bring my rook over to defend. I think I'm liking that. I hope I'm not falling for an opening trap. Could definitely happen. Definitely. Okay. Okay, minority attack is what I have. That's what I'm going to be going forward with. I think it could be easily parried, though. Okay. I should have had that on pre-move. Okay, I don't have to worry about the bishop so much on this side of the board, but now I think knight a5. Putting pressure on this pawn is maybe what I should be doing. And now, you know what? I'm a bit afraid of stuff, actually. f4 is going to happen. Many times, maybe having my king go uncastled and I retain the option to go on the queen side could be effective, because this could lock up over here. Knight a5. If I'm thinking about putting my bishop on a6 to put pressure on this, that's probably not a good idea, because this knight is going to kill me on this square. Takes, takes, knight takes here. I think I'm just running into a pin that's very difficult to get out of. Pawn takes, knight takes pawn, rook e1, knight takes c3. That actually might work. No, not really. Knight takes c3, rook takes queen, knight takes queen, rook takes c7. My knight is kind of stranded there. Although he jumps back to c3, hits the rook, and then he could give a check here, but then rook b2. I'm getting too far ahead of myself. I don't know what to do. I'd like to be able to calculate this position out, but this is where trying to be as practical as possible kicks in with these simuls. Oh, man. All right. I don't know what to do. I'm burning a lot of time in this game. This is not a good thing. G5 is very weakening. Oh, wait. G5 I might want to do. Very weakening. I might want to do it, though. Actually, G5. Very critical move. Very weakening move. Oh, man. I might want to try it, though. G5 knight here. I take that tricky knight. And then try and play 2 knights versus 2 bishops and hold the position. I think I'm asking too much. Oh, man. G5. Knight there takes. I got to do something. Oh, let me just try it. That's very... Oh, here we go. Wow. This feels like it's an opening trap or something. Let me try the minority attack. I gotta gain ground. I don't have much choice. And you just take this knight. Let's take that knight. Nothing here yet. Okay, where does my queen want to go? Queen here to defend? Not here, because the knight comes into play. Queen c7. Queen c7. What am I missing? I'm defending my bishop. I mean, I can't move my knight yet to attack the queen. But what happens once I get out of that pin? Okay, so... Knight takes knight is possible. Pawn takes I could play here with check. I think I want to do that. Knight takes, pawn takes knight. Actually, maybe I don't want to do that. Bishop takes knight first. I play here. Knight here. Knight takes knight. Bishop takes bishop. Queen takes pawn. This is getting a bit scary. Bishop takes knight first. I don't want to allow this knight to make use of c6. If I take on that square, I think I might allow that. Huh. Knight takes knight, pawn takes knight. It's my biggest concern. I move my knight. My bishop has an issue. I don't know what I want to do. Bishop takes knight. Pawn takes knight here. Knight c6 with tempo. Bishop e3. Let me try to make that work, actually. Let me try and make that one work. So I take here first. Hopefully one day I could make use of that position there of the king. I don't know. This is very dry position. I'm looking for a good versus bad bishop situation. I cannot tolerate that knight. Has to go. I need to get out of this pin, and I believe I have to play here, anticipating pressure against d6. I want to defend that. This move is weakening this square. So let me change my attention over here. c3, or yeah, c6. Okay. Flight square I still need for my king. You know what I'm going for with a3? Can anybody guess? Queen trade. That's what I have up my sleeve. Nobody's moving in any of these games. Clock situation, 14 minutes. I have an edge in this one. 14 minutes. 12 minutes in this one. Okay, that has my biggest concern right there. So now I take this rook, and now I can gain control of the c file. Let's see how black recaptures. If the b pawn recaptures, it could turn out to be a target on c. Now I could castle. Is this rook really going to swing up and then over? I think I'd be able to defend. My knight will be around soon enough. Castle. Rook here. I jump my knight into this square. I'm hitting the queen. My knight could come back here to defend some squares. This knight is still turning out to be out of play. Let me get out of this pin. I'm out of the pin. Okay. The knight is eyeing this square, but I could cover it with b3. It's not without weakening a3, but I think I just bumped my rook up to c2. If the bishop ever plays there and things are quite alright. My other thought is just knight here right now. Knight e5 hits this square. Let me do that, actually, and see how my opponent reacts. Yes, this is the right thing to do. Okay, now that I'm not too concerned about this position now, I don't think. Okay, maybe I am. I gotta take. Okay, let's see how my opponent recaptures. That could turn out to be a very critical game. Actually, I wasn't considering that. So now, try and keep things closed. Pawn push. Man, so you get very dangerous. This already is dangerous. I have very little time in this one. Alright, let me try and keep things closed. Let's see what I can make. Let's see what that e-pawn has up his sleeve. Oh man, these are all tough games. And I've devoted quite a bit of time already in the early stage. Let's see. Okay, we have action here. So I could do this, it's a fork, but my opponent gets out of it with the check. Let me hit this queen right now. I'm also on the bishop. The rook could give a check. I scoot over here. I don't know what the continuation would be. No, I'm on that queen and the bishop. The rook, I'm assuming, is going to give a check. Nothing here, nothing here, nothing here, something here. There, it gave a check. I don't have any move but to go in the corner. Queen is being hit. Where does she go? Nothing here, nothing here, nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. Let me go to... Okay, we have action in this game. So the queen is defending the pawn. I don't want to allow this knight to get here and challenge my knight. I'd like to be able to keep my knight around. I think now is the time I play b3 and rule out knight c4 altogether. So let's do that. This pawn can't move. I have pressure on b5. Nothing here. Something here. So now I maintain control over this c file. Queen c3. Oh, for a second I thought queen g4 was available. Not the case. What am I doing? This pawn could have been taken. I forgot about that. Oh man. Whoa. Okay, this is bad. I need to finally do some homework. I wasn't considering this move. I could just take that queen. Wow, what's going on here? What if I take the rook? Queen takes rook. Pawn takes. This can't be right. Queen takes rook. Queen takes bishop. Queen takes pawn. I'm on the knight. If the knight moves to c4, I could drop back to a7 and defend my bishop on e7. Just take this rook. No, or I could give a check maybe one day. Or I could take this bishop. I don't know what I want to do. Queen takes rook seems most direct. If pawn takes queen, I take their queen. They take my knight or bishop, I save the other. What am I missing? I don't know. Oh man. Queen takes rook. Queen takes bishop. I don't have any... I'm already up a piece. I'm going to be up another piece, I think. Wait a second. Queen takes rook, queen takes bishop, queen takes pawn, queen takes bishop. There's a potential for perpetual check. Hang on. Why can't it be easier? What's going on? Queen takes rook. Queen takes bishop. I don't want to go... Let me do something different. That's easier to calculate. How about I just move my queen? Is that so hard? Just move your queen. Man. Just move your queen. Wow. Queen b6. Oh, this is cleaner. Queen b6. Quit your calculating. See? Go with something simpler. Okay, everybody has moved in their games. I got to start moving fast. Okay, let's try here. I want to eye this square. I want to get to that e6 square. Flight square time. Offer a queen exchange. Okay, we're going to have opposite color bishop stuff happening. Queen here. Rook here is available. And I'd have to take the rook. I'm okay with that. Let's go with this. Let's go with this one. And I gotta keep going here. Okay, this pawn is dropping fast, isn't he? Yes, he is. Yeah, this is gonna be bad news. That's what you call bad news right there. Actually, wait a second. Take this pawn, I drop this. Defend this pawn a bit more. How about this? Should probably take this pawn before it's too late, shouldn't I? No, he's not going anywhere, is he? I don't know. Take this pawn. Rook takes here. I drop my knight back and try and get the rook. It's too far-fetched. I don't have any time. Let's try this. This diagonal is so weak. Actually, I'm just dropping this pawn. I had to defend that first. Oh, man. Okay. You gotta watch now. Have to watch, definitely. Because you do bad in one game and then it affects the rest of them. Domino effect. I gotta take that. I gotta take that. Okay, so good versus bad bishop ending. Let's see what happens there. Okay, so I could take this knight and then take here. Or take this, actually. Rook takes knight. Bishop takes pawn. I have to just do something. Let me just take this pawn. I like that better. I can drop my bishop back to defend my king a bit. I'm in trouble. Oh, there's action in this game. My opponent didn't take that pawn. What do I do? Get my king closer to the center. How do I do that? Pawn up first. Put him on a dark square. Let's try that. Something here. Oh, maybe even better is that move. Oh, man, I'm crunched. This is a brutal game. It's not looking good for Team Black. Oh, man. If I could only do it over. Knight takes pawn, pawn takes, bishop takes, annoying pin. I could get a fork, but this knight is... How do I get out of that pin? Oh, man. Pawn push, keep it closed. Bishop takes pawn. Yeah, that's not working either. Oh man, pawn takes pawn, bishop takes pawn. I just don't know. This game is gonna ruin every game. I'm so dead. I'm so dead in this game. This is bad news. Let me try that. I gotta go. I gotta fly now. I have to fly in every game. Okay, let's double up. Let's castle. Let's get my king in the center. I gotta fly. I don't know if these are all good moves, but I need to go faster. Go faster, or lose on time in all your games. That did happen, or in the majority of the games. Who was there for that? It's like every game I went to, it had that big red sign that said "You lost on time, buddy." That was not a good feeling to play or even watch, really. It was a train wreck. Okay, e6. I have an eye on that. My opponent moved. Queen here, hitting my knight. Oh, I'm not really afraid of that, am I? Okay, defend the knight, defend this pawn. If pawn takes pawn, I might be able to get out of that somehow. Let's come over here. Ah! Stupid bishop. I forgot about that. I gotta come over here. Forgot about that. Okay, king position. Actually, let me attack that pawn. Let's see how black reacts to that. Nothing here, nothing here. My pawns are out thinking, but I am really down on time. Down on time. Where do I have the least amount of time? Right here, and rightly so. Okay, now, man, there's pressure in every position. What do I do? Pawn push. Then the bishop can't get here. There is definitely, I'm pretty sure there's a better continuation for my opponent. What's this bishop up to? I really don't know. I should have moved my pawn up when the rook was threatening there. Counterattacking move. Man. Okay. Queen trade? Just anything here, right? Let's attack a bishop. Get the move back. This bishop is so... He's just bad news, man. Do I take that? Kick the bishop away and then pile up on... I don't know what I want to do. Take that knight? What about queen here? Maybe that's going to be disruptive. Let's see what that knight has up. What's his story? Okay, now... Okay, that bishop is not doing so great. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to try and sneak in on the king side here. Okay, that knight is getting hit. He's going to go down, but... Take this pawn, right? What about queen here? Queen here. I'm hitting at g3. Nothing here. Nothing here. Something here. Pressure on this pawn. Could be an issue. Pawn push is going to happen. Maybe it could have happened on the last move. Knight here. Knight takes pawn. I don't know. My opponent's going to have a really nice center, I think, very soon with the e5. Knight here, knight takes, queen takes. There's eventually fork on c2. Knight. Let me try this with knight here, hitting at the pawn and e6. Okay. So now I'm going to try this. I want to establish a pawn on this square. If I did h4, I think h6 and g5 idea means I don't really get anything from the position. Pawn takes, and then I'm on this again. I think I do that. And maybe I can make use of the g file. Bishop backs up. I was ready to do that. That's a blunder. Don't do that. Can I get a fork in here? Queen trade. Let me hit this pawn. My bishop's here to defend that square. f7. Nothing, 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 nothing. 5 minutes in this game. Okay. Oh, man. H6 and then G5 is going to happen. I changed my mind. Change of plans. Change of plans. I feel like I could be getting mate against white. Yeah, I think I'll be ending up winning, getting ready to win that one, actually. Surprisingly. Okay, I could take that knight. I'm gonna go with this now. Play against c6 eventually. Okay. Let's get this pawn up. My king is gonna try to do stuff on the queen side of the board in that game. Nothing here, nothing here. Okay, take the queens off the board, and now I do this. Sneaky little move. Sometimes it's okay to go home. I'm hitting the knight in the game, and also c6. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Dropping this, so this is going to be a problem. Okay, we have action in this game. The center is coming under some heavy fire. So I believe now I jump into this square. Man, knight here, and then... Okay, this is actually working, I think. The queen can't go to c7 or e7 right now because it has to watch over d5, and I'd get that with check. Action over here, I could give a check. I think that is best. Let's see what the king does first, and then I'll make a decision. Do I want to take the bishop or play knight h5? Okay, now I take the pawn. I'm hitting everything. I could have also just doubled. That pawn wasn't going anywhere. Nothing, nothing, nothing. Okay, what's that rook up to? I could grab on b2. I'm hitting the knight twice, and he'd have to go home. And I think I end up winning a piece, actually. Rook takes bishop, and then you're going to get at this pawn? That has some of my concern. So what do you do if it has some of your concern? You first meet that threat, maybe, or what might be a threat. Let's just hit this queen to a different square. Oh, there's action here. I don't want to take... How can I keep this as simple as possible? Let me just double. I'm going to get my king in the center soon. Okay, my king definitely has to come in this direction. Bishop is blocking. Just take that. It's pinned. I also don't have to take it. I'm going to take that, though. Not sure why that one was played. Okay. I guess fearing too much on the g file, maybe it would lead to mate or something. I'm not sure. I didn't have time to see how I'd be able to win it. Some mate. Okay, my queen is hit. So now... Ooh, wait a second. Queen here. This is reminding me of that game against Salim that I lost. Queen here, then I could get to one of these two. Queen h3, and now I'm getting to both of these, one of those two. Okay, we're going in this direction. Or are we? Hang on. I don't want this, I don't want it to close up too much. Let me see. Let me see about doing this move. Nope, that's why I couldn't do that. Pre-move that. So now pawn push. Or no, this is just a fork. This is winning a lot of stuff now. I could do this. It's a mate threat or something. Check. Right here, check. Move my king. It seems fine to just be up a rook, though. Right here. Rook right here. This game, I should have been losing. Definitely. So now rook here. I think the queen is actually trapped. She's out of squares. She's in the center, but I have a ton of pieces covering everything. Okay, action here. Okay. This is something I first learned when... When did I first learn this move? Let's see. Pawn up. I don't want the files to open up. Okay, I want to meet any pawn push with another pawn push, and then I want to keep things closed, in other words. Knight here, I get this dark square bishop. I think I want to do that, because otherwise my knight's going to be kicked away to... he's not going to have a good home. So I think I want to jump in here right now. I'm on the rook. Okay. Let's back my bishop up where? Right here, I guess. It doesn't really matter. Right here. No, right here. Take that rook. I only have 3 minutes in that one. Let's just trade anything. Just want to make sure that that game ends. That'd be bad. Okay, and oh, did I have a? Oh no, I didn't have that just yet. Give a check now though. Nothing here yet. 3 minutes in this one. 4 minutes about. I think this one's going to be a dead game soon. Right here, the queen. No, let me just take the queen. Something here. The king just moved. Okay, pawn up. I'm gonna break at this pawn. I think that's the way to. Well, I have to do it like that. Okay, and now my queen will be getting in on the dark squares, but hang on, that pawn could push with check. Let's just do that. And anything really in this one. Something here, okay. Let me see. Let's try this direction. This is going to be a big struggle, that game right there. So now, hitting the rook and knight. Nothing here. King position. Let me see if I could get a rook off. Pre-move that. Time. Okay, we're going to have the queens come off. Okay, and now let's come over here. I have something sneaky in mind, I think. We just take here right now. Time. Okay, let me take here. And, oh, that's a fork. The rook had to take. I don't think I'm missing anything on that one. I didn't double check. Okay, that's actually going to be mate in 2. The knight has to block. I do this and then take on f1. Let's mate next. Okay, good game. Let me close out of that. Action in this one. 4 games remaining. Get my king working, finally. That bishop's in a pin, however. Actually, I want to do this. My king wants to be on f3, I think. f3. Take that knight. Bishop goes there. Okay. Let's see. I'm not sure how that game is going to pan out. Okay, 3 minutes only in that game. Okay, bump my king up. Put pressure on that pawn or something. Before my bishop gets trapped with maybe g5, king f7, king g6. Get him out of there. Nothing here yet. 3 minutes in that one. Okay. Let's do that before it's too late. Bishop e8 might have ruled that out. I don't know what's going to come of that game. Very, very equal. King there. Pig. Pig is there. Let's move that pawn. Nothing here yet. Pin. Let's give a check. I could also get my knight in there next. I think I should probably just do that no matter what. Let's just do that no matter what. Nothing. Something. King position. Let's get rook here. The 7th rank is vulnerable. Nothing here. Nothing here yet. Okay, I'm on the queen. They just moved. I'm also on the rook. My queen is doing everything. Should not have that. I should be losing that game. That was a terrible. The opening was just horrible. Let's try that. I think I just want to trade one pair of rooks. Okay, I have that rook now. 3 minutes remaining in that one. Nothing, 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 nothing here yet. Something here. Maybe keep both rooks. I have 2 active rooks. Their rooks are passive. Forget about me just wanting 1 rook on the board. I want 2. Both of mine are active. Just anything. I want that game to be over with soon. King position. Let's get my rook active. Nothing, nothing, something here. Let's keep this. These pawns are very weak, the isolated ones. Keep 1 pair of rooks on. Let me drop back. Let's see. I might try something sneaky. This is mate, actually. Okay, good game. Let's close out of that. 3 remaining. Let's see. That one's going to be a struggle. Definitely. Nothing, nothing. Okay. What do I do without this one? I can't really make use of f4 and rely upon it. That bishop will give me checks. My knight, I want to be able to do something soon. Huh. Action here. Okay. Let's do this. I don't want that king to get too active. Remove that still. So time situation is what? Let's get active over here. Keep that king honest. Oh, why wasn't I doing this sooner? Let me try this. Go after that a pawn. Make that a pawn move. Give a check. Yes, this is going to work because it flushes the king back. My king could step up and stop e3 stuff. Okay. Being sneaky. Coming around in this direction. Could win that pawn. Or no, actually let me give a check. And then come here. Do I have to worry about that? Take the pawn. Pawn push. I'm not afraid of that. My king's there in time. Let me just pick off a pawn. Keep that king cut off to the 8th rank. If I can maintain my rook there, I'll do it. Nothing, nothing. Okay. I'm sneaking over this way. I wonder if my opponent sees what I am doing slowly but surely. My opponent is also way down on time. How much time? Less than 5 seconds. I might lose on time in that one. I'm still sneaking over. My opponent should not allow my king, I don't think, to get this active. Let's see. I don't have to worry about the bishop getting at any of my pawns. Okay, my opponent resigned in this one. Good game. They're also way down on time. 2 games remain. 3 games finished. 2 to go. What's happening here? This is going to be difficult. Let's try this. Going to be okay. This is the pawn move that I was not fearful of. Now I do this, and now I want to get my knight somehow to c5. It's where he wants to go, and then I could transfer my attention to the king side specifically. Okay, let's try the other side. Oh man, you know what I shouldn't have done? I'm already thinking back. I should not have played f4. I should have kept the pieces more fluid in that game, the pawns more fluid. So that's going to be the most difficult game to win. I think this one is a positional grind. Good knight versus bad, not bad bishop, but I have a good knight. He's going to be really, not a good knight. Excuse me. This bishop could take the knight as soon as he plays here, but it's still strong. Okay, now let me get my knight working. But wait a second. Let me get my king up here first. In case of pawn push, I don't know if I would take, but I want to be able to capture towards the center and then come here or something. Let's get my knight working. There might be some pawn push or something. Let's come back here. That one's gonna take forever. Okay, well. Why did my king even go there? Let's try this again. My knight wants to be on f3. My opponent moved. Let's try this. I feel like that one's going to end like it did in that last game I was playing at the Simul. What do you call it? A repetition of position or something. Okay, now that the rooks were ready to be in a spot to challenge my rooks, I want to keep these guys passive, so that's why I'm coming back over to the c file. And let me see, bishop here. What is this going to do? What is this going to do? Probably not much. Okay, let's see. My knight wants to play here right now. My opponent could really do nothing but just shuffle. In the meantime, I think getting it to this square is going to be strong. Potential checks on this square. c5, a lot of very big possibilities. So, just maneuvering phase. Get it to d3. There's nothing my opponent could really do but just sit and wait. Alright. Is there a way to win this one? Let's try that. Okay, jump in here. Now it gets very critical for my opponent. Very easy to go wrong for my opponent. Let's see what's going to happen here. So knight here constrains the rook to the defense of the pawn, but what about this rook here right now? That's actually picking up a pawn, but even more than that. Because as soon as he falls, everything is hit. Hang on. Rook here, bishop here, am I dropping this? King here, just play it safe. He's not going to go anywhere. Yeah, let's just come here. There's no need, actually. That pawn is going to fall. If I really want him to fall, he's going to fall. Bishop here, I get killed. Bishop here. Let's see what my opponent does if I play what? Bishop c6. Let's see. Okay, now here, actually, I could do this first. I don't want these rooks to be challenging my rooks. If the rooks are allowed to get to these, if I don't control c5, these rooks get active and I can maybe start to have to worry about my A and B, my A pawn. Okay, that's a good move. Bishop back. Alright, I'm still going to be trying in this one. I have to watch out for 50 move rule stuff. But I am going to keep trying. I'm definitely the side that's looking to win that one, right? Having the better bishop. My king over here. Okay, my opponent's down on time in this one. A little bit of an edge in this one for my opponent, time-wise. Oh, man. Let's see. I'm being sneaky, actually. I want to retain my options. I don't have very many pawn moves remaining, so I want to see if my opponent's going to slip up. They're not really giving me an inch here. So now I get my knight here. Now this rook starts to be constrained. Actually, this pawn is going to fall. Okay. Come back to d1. Let's see how my opponent reacts in that game. Less than 2 minutes for Team Black. And let me take a quick peek at what? Huh. Not sure what I want to do. Let me try to come over on that side again. Now I'm going to take this pawn. My rooks are still active, and their rooks are passive. Therefore, I do not want to exchange off my rooks. Huh. Not sure what I'm doing here. Let us see. There it is. I thought that might happen. It's too difficult for me to keep track of that. Drawn by repetition. I don't have anything if Black plays correctly, and they were playing correctly for some time there. Good game, Mr. Andy French. Okay, I wanted to try some stuff, but it just wasn't going to happen. My opponent just does well to keep this pawn right there. And this bishop, I really can't dislodge it. Even though I had the bishop, like good versus bad bishop, it wasn't enough. Just kind of going back well, I can't go back right now, but because there's still another game. But f4, I shouldn't have done f4 like I did. It didn't allow me to, let's see if I could verbalize that how I want. It didn't allow me to make use of my better bishop. I think maybe creating a target in the center of the board, if I could have saddled my opponent with a pawn that was a target in the center of the board instead of so out of play on where was it, e6. It was so difficult to get at e6. Okay, so this one I think should be no problem now, actually, because I give check. Everything is now falling. This pawn is going to fall. This pawn could fall. You know, I don't want to allow Black to have any counterplay. So I take this, and I'm on that one. Yeah, I could go for this now. Everything is falling in this game. The last one remaining. All right. H5 falls. Best chance, I guess, is to try and get active on the C file, but I think I just don't allow that. Rook here would be threatening mate. Actually, rook here and mate is unavoidable, I think. No, rook here, king here. Let me just take that rook. And then give check. Grab this pawn with check. And then I could take this pawn, or I could just make sure that this rook does not get active and play rook c5, welcoming a trade, because I have enough... I have enough what? I have enough material. I don't need to allow... I don't want to have to start calculating. Rook takes pawn, rook here. You grab this. The pawn is passed. As soon as I move my rook, there's this check available. Rook here. Oh, rook here, rook takes rook. Hang on. Rook here, rook takes rook. Pawn takes. The bishop comes here. But I push my pawn. Let me see. Actually, maybe I'm alright. I'm okay. I'll let this pawn fall. I'm going to get the bishop. With these pawns being on opposite files, they'll be traded eventually. I push my b pawn. I get their a pawn, they get my b pawn, and then it's a 5-on-1. So let me just make sure that this bishop is dead. And do I play g4 and then look to get the bishop? No, I'm just going to take him. Let me just take that. Come over here, push my pawn. Like I was saying, just keep... We're going to have these guys traded off, and it's going to be a 5-on-1, which is winning. Just looking for the cleanest way to victory, and I think that this is at least one of them. Rook and pawn in game. Rook and a lot of pawns in game. But I also have this guy that could be moving. Let's get him moving. Even if he falls, a 4-on-1 is still fine. Okay. Let's take him. And pawn push, rook takes, rook behind my pawn. No need to drop another pawn. Or no need to drop a pawn. g4, and then inch my way up slowly. There's no rush. King up. Similar to how it was like the king on f3 and the pawn was here. The other pawn was here. I'm just looking to do the same thing. Actually, there's an opportunity to cut the king off now. So let me do that. Rook a7. f3, e4, d5, the Mighty Ducks. The Mighty Ducks formation. The flying V. Yeah, somebody's actually saying it in the chat. Somebody was saying that in the chat. The flying V formation. So king f4, f4, one of those things that looks appealing. Aesthetics. h6, h7, h8. I should have done that instead of the king move. Let's just get him rolling. He cannot be stopped. The rook could get behind him, but I end up following up with the skewer. And now he can't be caught. Where is that, mate? I'm actually just going to take. King takes here no matter what, and then 4 moves till mate. 1, 2, 3, 4. No matter what. Just playing it out to the end. Okay. Good game. All right. Okay. Very cool. Congrats to the 5 of you that I played. I don't recall. I don't have the names actually written down. I don't have the 5 names written down, but good games. Thanks for another successful simul. The 5 of you that I just played. Very cool.